Hey everybody. So, it looks like we've gone up about 100 subscribers in the last day or so since I've done the collaboration with Unit 522, which is awesome. I'm very happy about that. I'm working on a bunch of new videos for you guys, but in the meantime, I went through and found a bunch of stories that I had done but hadn't uploaded yet, so I collected them into this one video, and I hope you guys like it. This is going to sound like one of those crazy stories you read on the internet, but let me assure you, this is more than just a tall tale designed to feed sick minds, teens looking to get their next scare, or to scare children into playing nice. This actually happened, and I still to this day don't know how or why. When I was about 6 or 7, I was living in a house on Black Pit Drive. In fact, I'd been living in that house since the day my mother brought me home from the hospital. And I had a lot of weird shit happen to me over the years. But nothing gets weirder than this. While living on Black Pit Drive, I had a close friend named Tommy. My mother gave me a lot of freedom to be a child at that age. I could go to the end of the street, to Tommy's house, and play out on the street, unsupervised. But her one rule was I don't go onto Redwood Lane, which was the next street over. Being the kids we were, one day we decided to take a little walk down Redwood Lane. I'm not going to dress it up as something it's not. The sun was high in the sky, the smell of fresh-cut grass filled the air, and trees lined the streets. Walking down that street, everything was normal, and we found ourselves venturing onto Redwood Lane most days. This is where we met Friendly. Friendly was the name we gave to a specific tree. We don't know why, or what kept us going back to that tree, but we did. We would go see this tree a couple times a week, speak to it, give it a hug, and say our goodbyes. Last time I actually remember visiting Friendly with Tommy was this one day when Tommy was picking moss from the tree. And I yelled at him, "Hey, stop hurting Friendly!" I shouted, like the moss was part of the tree. And Tommy was picking it apart piece by piece. "Sorry, Friendly," Tommy said with a shaky voice, before we said our goodbyes for the day. From this day on, Tommy never joined me on my visits to the tree. I felt obligated to continue going around, talking to the tree, and giving it a big hug every couple days. In my mind, I was its only friend. It was a couple of weeks after this when I first heard Friendly speak. Turned out Friendly was a male with a very calm and soothing voice. He would speak to me in my dreams on the days that I didn't visit. But I genuinely believed that this tree heard everything I said the days previous. I believed that he would visit me in my dreams just to reply to what I had to say and tell me about his day. I believe this tree was one of the best friends I ever had. One day I went around to Tommy's house to tell him the exciting news. After knocking on the door, Tommy's dad answered. "Oh, hello, Mr. Hayden. Is Tommy playing out?" I asked with excitement in my voice. "No, Robert. No, he's not. He's grounded," Tommy's dad replied, closing the door. I felt at that minute in time like Mr. Hayden didn't want me playing with Tommy at all. Like him telling me Tommy was grounded was something personal against me. And what he was saying was, "I don't want Tommy playing with you." Thinking back, this wasn't the case, but I was a child with a very overactive imagination. As soon as Mr. Hayden closed the door, I went straight around to see Friendly. I only had 2 friends, and one of them wasn't allowed out. "Friendly, Tommy's dad is being horrible to me. He won't let me play with Tommy," I said, sobbing. I sat there for a while, ranting about how horrible Mr. Hayden was being, then saying how it was my birthday soon. My mom was getting me a new Sega game, World of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. Then I gave Friendly a hug and said goodbye. The next day, Tommy came around to my house with his mom. She was dropping him off as she had to go to the hospital at 7:45 that morning. Mr. Hayden was discovered with a rope around his neck, hanging from the tree that Tommy and I called Friendly. I never did tell Tommy what I said to the tree, and to help cheer him up, my mom gave me World of Illusion as an early birthday present. We played the game all day long, until eventually, Tommy's mom came and picked him up and they went home. Friendly appeared to me in a dream that night and said I didn't have to worry about Mr. Hayden anymore. Mr. Hayden is gone, Friendly said in his usual calm, angelic voice. I woke up from this dream, climbed out of bed, and looked out the window, staring up at the clear night sky and seeing the stars twinkle and a million heavenly candles. I just knew that somehow Friendly had something to do with Mr. Hayden's assumed suicide. Thank you, Friendly, I whispered, as if the tree had just done me a favor. In the morning, I was on my way to Tommy's house, but I decided to walk the long way around, taking a detour down Redwood Lane. I knew Tommy wouldn't want to see Friendly, and certainly not after his dad was found dead there. So I went alone before going to Tommy's. As I got close to Friendly, a huge smile filled my face. Hello, Friendly. I was talking to that tree again. Two kids laughed from across the street. I ran away out of embarrassment, sobbing, on the way to Tommy's house. He's not just a tree. He's my best friend, I thought to myself. When I got to Tommy's, his mom was sat in the front garden smoking a cigarette. I'd never seen this woman smoke before, and was a bit taken back by the sight. That's dirty, Mrs. Hayden, I said over the fence. Oh, no, Robert. I shouldn't do it, really, should I? No, Mrs. Hayden. It's dirty and it's bad. Is Tommy playing out? No, sorry, Robert. He's not playing today. You can go in and see him if you'd like. Thank you. I went inside and we sat playing on his brother's Sega for a while, fighting our way through the levels of Altered Beast and Streets of Rage. His brother always had more violent games, and I imagined every enemy on those games to be the two kids who were laughing at me, talking to Friendly. I told Tommy all about them. He's not just a tree. He's friendly, Tommy said. They're stupid anyway, he laughed. After completing both games, Mrs. Hayden called us both down for dinner. I hope you're hungry, Robert. I made you a little something too, she said with a slight smile on her face. Thank you, Mrs. Hayden. Just as we were finishing up, Tommy's mom called from upstairs. Robert, your dad's here for you. Coming. I ran to the front door and straight into my dad's arms. Ready to go? Yes, Dad, I replied. Thank you for dinner, Mrs. Hayden. You're welcome, Robert. See you tomorrow. As my dad and I were walking down the garden path, he grabbed me from behind and swung me up in the air, placing me on his shoulders. What have you done today? He asked. Oh, just played the Sega. Even that bloody Sega. He laughed. When we got home, it was getting close to my bedtime, so I went straight upstairs and changed into my pajamas. Before my dad came up, turned on my Thomas the Tank Engine nightlight, and read me a bedtime story. The next day, I was sitting in front of the TV watching Pokemon, eating cereal, when Tommy came walking into the living room. Your mom just let me in. Guess what? He exclaimed. Those two boys you laughed at, they're dead. What? How? I asked. They were picking bits off Friendly, and a big branch fell on their head. I instantly knew that Friendly had done it, just like he did with Mr. Hayden. My mother had overheard the conversation from the next room, and a couple of weeks after this we moved. Turns out the reason she didn't want me and Tommy playing on Redwood Lane that year was because every 20 years, strange things start to happen on that street. People start dying due to suicides and accidental deaths. I think I know why. It was in 1996 when all this happened. Yesterday, I went to see Friendly again. Mr. Whispers, Mr. Whispers, Mr. Whispers. Okay, one down. 199 more to go. It's nice knowing you, kid. Huh? Oh, you're confused. Well, I guess that's to be expected. I did lie saying you'd click this link. So, I guess it wouldn't hurt to let you in on my secret. Can't do much to save yourself now, at any rate. So, here's the thing. I want something, but I can't buy it or steal it. What is it, you may ask? It doesn't matter. In fact, In about 3 minutes, nothing's going to matter to you ever again. And that's just how he works. Oh, who is he? His name is Mr. Whispers, you see. He promised me he could give me whatever I wanted if I give him 200 souls. How can I get him 200 souls, you may ask? All I have to do is get 200 people to think of his name. He collects at a very quick pace. I think you're down to a minute and a half. Maybe a minute if I say this slowly. Anyway, sorry, buddy. I know this is super cruel, but it's the easiest way to complete his request. This is the internet, after all. You have about 30 seconds left. Use them wisely. The train beat against the track, far into the streets of London. The rhythmic beating of the wheels on the track mixed with the flashing, fading lights of the station left Tyler drifting into a deep sleep. A band popular 40 years ago, but still of sentiment, lulled him to sleep, between the chords in his ears. Not an old man, mid-30s, engaged, no children. Just a working man who lived his life simply and safely. He could hear the conductor call over the loudspeakers, barely a language he thought. Full train, yet he managed a seat, probably because he stayed out late with some of his mates. Still a little drunk, he gazed at the electrical map. I've got a long way to go. Maybe 40 minutes. Meaning to set an alarm, he forgot in his drunken haze. The whistle of the subway seemed like a forlorn dream far away, like a haze within a mist. He awoke. The train was empty. This took a moment to register before it was alive, buzzing with the sound of idle chatter, tapping on electrical devices, even soft music from earbuds. But now nothing. Not even Joe, the local homeless man who claimed his car as his home. Even the booze smell, which usually permeated through the night ride, was replaced with the smell of bleach. Hello? Cliché, he thought. But no answer. He pulled the earbuds out of his ears, only to find they weren't there. He pats himself down, starting to panic. No phone. No half-eaten protein bar, just his wallet. And keys to his flat. At least I can get home. He tries to keep the fear from his voice. Standing up, he saw 3 other people as he walked up and down the train car. Hey! He waved his hands out in front of an old man, wearing a suit not too dissimilar from his own. The man didn't respond, so Tyler took to shaking him, hoping this wasn't a zombie, or vampire, or worse, one of those reality TV shows. The man woke up. His scream was loud enough to wake the child near him, and the young lady even farther down the train. Mom? The boy called out. What's going on? The girl yawned, as if being pulled out of a restful slumber. The tube kept rolling down the track as the 4 of them sat in deliberation. The old man seemed to be a businessman of sorts from France. He spoke English well enough, but his accent was thick. Secretly hoping for Jacques or Pierre, Tyler found his name was in fact Thomas, short for Thompson, which he usually went by. The girl waved her phone around, climbing the poles looking for a signal. Her freaking out seemed to amuse the boy who Tyler would place as 12. The only answer the boy had was his name, Stephen. Michelle, as it was later known when Tyler calmed her down and had her sit back with the group, was in her mid-20s, postgraduate trip after getting a master's in sociology. He remarked once he got her talking, anything could come in, and she would make them wait until she was finished with whatever anecdote she was regaling. Looking at Stephen, he actually admired her, all the more for it. Okay, let's start over. What do you remember? Thompson started speaking, looking at Stephen. I was with Mom. She kept saying, don't fall asleep. We're almost there. He almost sniffles before Thompson started to speak. Hey, big boys don't cry. When I was your age, this would be incredible. I would be exploring every inch. It almost sounded crass, but the boy lightened up. Yeah! He almost took off, but the girl grabbed him into a hug. Oh, come on. She stopped laughing after a few seconds and looked up. Why don't you go and find the conductor? The panic set in earlier, he remembered. She took it worse with her phone, although in her hand, having no signal. Not a surprise, of course. They're underground. His phone was gone. The old man lived most of his life without one. The boy's mother only let him use hers with permission. Strange, Tyler thought, to suddenly be without any real communication. He looked at 3 of them inside. He would have to step up. I'll be back. He turned his back, hoping the fear on his face was so apparent. Walking to the end of the train car, he gripped the door and pulled. What? Pulled again. Nothing. Not a single motion. Not budging an inch. He curses softly under his breath. Then, walking at a brisk pace, he repeats the same action with the same result. Is everything okay? The girl responds. No, he wants to say. I'm sure it's nothing. He then relaxes his shoulders, but the doors are sealed. Thompson asks again, as Stephen clings to Michelle. She only looks up at Tyler. What now? That was the question. But there really was only one answer. We wait. He hangs his head, listening to the pounding of the tracks. Nothing but a constant darkness pervades the vision before the glass. We wait until the last stop. His gaze focuses on the electrical subway map. No light blinking. Why does the paranormal exist? This question is rarely brought up. We never think to ask why bloodthirsty ghouls and vengeful ghosts and the like happen to exist in the first place. All of our attention is focused on the monsters themselves, on the mysterious disappearances of people who went to the woods or abandoned places with satanic graffiti, on the effects rather than the causes. We fear the power of the unknown rather than what gave the unknown that power. We never notice the signs. To give an example, remember the whole Slenderman craze? That attempted murder of a preteen girl by her 2 friends? It was caused by a fictional internet character created to scare people. In a way, it did just that. It terrified us enough to haunt our imaginations and nightmares until the new monster of the year came along. We feared a fictional being for years. What you might not know is that there have been sightings of a real Slenderman the years since. I know what you may be asking. What does this have to do with the reason behind the paranormal? Let me answer that question with another. Have you ever heard of tulpas?